This is a fan-generated show. If you'd like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our new Rumble channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to announce the release of my new book, Obama's True Legacy: How He Transformed America. There's a reason why Mike Huckabee calls it a ferocious and chilling read. Order it now at Amazon.com or at FrontPageMag.com. Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, another fantastic program with a fantastic guest. Before we get to our fantastic guest, a few in-house matters this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting more and more difficult for us at the Glazov Gang. The censorship by big tech is always increasing, if not skyrocketing. The latest development is my Facebook page has been completely disabled. So we're asking you for your help. Please remember, we're a fan-generated show living in a totalitarian environment. Please subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channels. Press instant notification. Press like if you like the show. Make sure to make comments beneath the program. Visit us at jamieglazov.com. Subscribe. If you are very wealthy or you know some very wealthy friends, please help us out at jamieglazov.com. Follow us on Twitter and tell everybody about the program. And now, back by popular demand, Jeff Crouere, the author of America's Last Chance. Jeff, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Jamie, it's an honor. It's an honor to be with you. Thank you for having me.
And it's always an honor to have you with us. Jeff, the passing of O.J. Simpson. There's a lot there. There was, of course, the murder. There was, of course, also the racial tensions and what the verdict may have said about the racial tensions in America, the bias in America, the fear, perhaps, of some people to make certain decisions at the risk of perhaps riots or more violence. And we see this all today, especially we know that Obama poured the fuel on the fire on all of this and made everything a lot worse. What were some of your thoughts today?
Well, Jamie, I went back to the day of the verdict. And back then I was campaigning for a state representative. And I lived in uptown New Orleans at the time, and I was campaigning at an African-American minister's home because we lived in a uptown New Orleans district that is more liberal than conservative. She was willing to entertain me as a potential endorsement. They had about 50 people in her home with this meeting. The TV was on as we were doing the endorsement. They took time out to watch the verdict. When it was announced that he was found not guilty, the room erupted in cheers. And I was thinking to myself, wow, we've got a divided America, because I felt that he was completely guilty. But everybody at that meeting, everyone there was joyous, was so happy that he was found not guilty. Fortunately, I did get the endorsement, by the way, of the group, but I still did not agree with what they were saying about O.J. Simpson. And I've always felt since then that an injustice was carried out, that the poor victims, Nicole Brown and Ron Goodman, never got Goldman, never got justice. And, I feel sorry for the Goldman family and for all the family members of Nicole Brown. But yeah, OJ had it all, Jamie. He was, America's hero. He was a pitch man for Hertz. He was a TV sportscaster. He was in the movies. He was just an all-American guy. And sadly, he threw it all away and led the rest of his life really as someone who was hated by lots of America.
Sometimes, Jeff, when I'm watching this stuff on social media, I don't know if something's real now or if it's not real. Today there was this video of this apparently former juror that was admitting that a lot of members of the jury knew he was guilty, but they wanted payback for Rodney King, so they acquitted him. but it appears that that video is real. It's just, you just never know anymore. Are you aware of that, or just yes or no? If not, just that there did seem to be that theme, though. There was pressure on the jury, but perhaps some members of the jury, members of the black community, who may have wanted quote unquote payback of some sort.
Oh, no, I think you're right, Jamie. I think there was definitely Rodney King's situation and the riots. It was sort of hanging over that trial. And I think that was a factor. I also think OJ had the best defense money can buy. I mean, he had Johnny Cochran. I mean, he had the best defense attorney probably in America. And the prosecutors made lots of mistakes. And of course, they exploited all those mistakes for the acquittal. But I mean, it was just an injustice. I mean, again, that pointed out how there's a double standard of justice in our country. OJ, as a rich guy, was able to, buy his freedom through excellent attorneys. I'd say 99.9% of the people that would have been charged with such a crime would have been found guilty. And we see in a different respect a double standard of justice today with how the Department of Justice is targeting Donald Trump and MAGA supporters and giving kid glove treatment to Democrats. So there are lots of questions about our justice system still today, all these years after OJ's verdict, Jamie.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Annie Cyrus, what should we talk about next?
Is it too early to say? So I guess the Black Lives Matter movement is started by that verdict. Okay, I know that was bad joke, but
No, but that's absolutely true. I mean, the seeds were obviously planted there for all of that violence and divisiveness.
and on a serious note, though, I'm gonna actually take this there. I'm still trying to figure the Summer of Love, all the buildings burning, all the flags of United States of America's flag being burned, all the people getting beat up almost to death. And I am still trying to figure, where is this quote unquote modern day where we all have treated Black people so terribly? When for a fact, I know in the last 21 years of my life, Jeff, here in America, I have witnessed, I worked at a place where I was in charge of hiring one person. And I remember I picked a resume and I took it to my boss and I said, this person has the perfect credentials and qualifications for the job. She looked at me, she looked at the resume, she gave it back to me, and she said, no, he's white. I need you to pick a non-white employee and call them. Where is this white privilege? Where is this? We're treating Black people bad. O.J. Simpson literally got away with a heinous crime, and nobody came out to say, did that have anything to do with his skin color?
No, you make a good point. I mean, that played a big role in his acquittal. And of course, he always used to say, I'm still looking for the killer. Of course, we knew that was a joke. And, he sort of made a joke of the whole thing. He wrote a book, What If I Would Have Done It? I mean, he sort of turned it into just sort of a game. And then the ironic thing, of course, he later went to prison for something totally unrelated. The attack on these memorabilia dealers in the Vegas hotel room, where he spent, a good number of years in prison for that. So maybe he got a small measure of justice there. Maybe he got overcharged in that case for getting off with double murder.
That could be very well be possible, but the problem is, I feel like as long as our society is not willing to see that off of fear, any category of fear, we don't want to provoke Islamic jihad, so let's not talk about them. We don't want to provoke another riot on the streets of our country, so let's not talk about it. The fear has controlled the narrative in America for so long that I feel like, have we passed the point of return, or is there still room for us to come back and repair this division?
I think we can. I think we can, Annie, if we elect Donald Trump, because I think Trump can bring people together. I think Trump can heal a lot of these wounds, lifting all races up. He's not a racist. He's not going to target any particular race. He's going to try to help all Americans. And maybe that's what we need in this country, to bring people back together again. Because right now, it's a very divided country, and it's been divided ever since, really, you can go back to the O.J. Simpson case, probably before then. And maybe we can have a new direction with a new president helping Americans of all backgrounds and skin colors and moving us all forward. Because right now, I think there are a lot of people, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, that share a lot of misery from the condition of our country today.
Agreed. And Jamie, I promise I will stop after this, but if you don't mind me also saying, Jeff, you're very correct. But also, I feel like as one nation under God, it would be very helpful if it would also bring back God to our country and realize that our Lord and Savior would not obey or follow or even put up with the demonic action and plans of the Democratic Party in this country.
Amen. Amen. I agree.
Annie, you're always beating around the bush. Why don't you start saying what you really think?
I don't want YouTube to censor us.
So thank you, Annie, so much. And for sure, there's a spiritual war going on right in front of our eyes, as Annie refers to, and we will be touching on some of that in our ongoing discussion here today. Jeff, from one weird subject to the next, or one weird episode to the next. So now we've got this guy, these video clips that have emerged of this guy apparently from the CIA during a dinner. It looks very much like a James O'Keefe underground operation, but it was somebody else. And he's boasting about what the CIA has been doing. He's a very unlikable character, but he's very proud of himself, and he's boasting how the intelligence agencies set out to destroy Alex Jones and succeeded in it. Very telling, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And it just goes to show you, Jamie, that these agencies are weaponized against Americans. I mean, when you look at the threats that America faces, the border, Islamic terror, Chinese, all the different enemies around the world, the North Koreans, the Iranians. I think our biggest threat really is our own government, our own deep state. These agencies that have been weaponized against Americans, against conservative talk show hosts, MAGA supporters, Donald Trump, January 6th protesters. You would never have heard any FBI or CIA agent boasting about how they took advantage of Hillary Clinton, because, of course, they gave Hillary Clinton a pass, didn't they? And then they gave, the Obamas a pass and the Bidens a pass. But look at what they're doing to January 6th folks right now. And I think Alex Jones, this sort of vindicates him, because he's been saying all along that they've been targeting him. And now you have this operative, this sort of idiot who says all this on undercover video, admitting it, Jamie.
He was very proud of himself, wasn't he?
He was. He really was. And he was boasting, boy, we destroyed him. And now Alex Jones can come forward and say, hey, I told you so. This is what I've been saying. I was right.
Yeah, something's happened with our intelligence agencies, for sure. And they're waging war on the good guys, aren't they?
Back in the day when I was growing up, we used to tell our teachers, what do we want to be when we grow up? Some people would say firemen, policemen. Other people would say, hey, I want to work for the FBI or the CIA. That would be cool. We want to serve our country. We want to serve in the military. Now, the military recruitment is lower than ever because people don't want to serve under Joe Biden as commander-in-chief. And of course, you have to be some kind of a card-carrying Democrat to want to serve in the FBI or CIA because of the left-wing agenda that we see from those agencies. So It's a far cry from how I remember these agencies that were held in high esteem when I was growing up, Jamie.
Well, the FBI is now busy walking around in parking lots writing down the license plates of parents who are in a meeting, and that meeting is about them being uncomfortable with a guy named Steve dressed as Susie gyrating in front of their children. That if you're opposed to this, you need the FBI looking into you. This is quite a world we're living in. And so the world that we are living in is that Ashley Biden left a diary behind, intentionally, unintentionally, who knows. She left it behind in some place she was staying at, and a lady by the name of Amy Harris found it and exposed one way or another. The details were exposed in it, and in the diary we have Ashley Biden saying that she's uncomfortable with her dad coming into the shower and all this stuff. Look, if that was a daughter of Donald Trump, this would be front page news, and Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar would be screaming, Maddow would be screaming, but this is not in the news at all. Even the intelligence agencies were quiet about this, and there were some murmurings that this isn't real, this is phony, it's fake. But now the DOJ and FBI, if I'm correct, have confirmed it's real, and Amy Harris has been prosecuted. She's going to spend a month in jail. So this is a real diary. This is real, what Biden's daughter has said. Why, if the president of the United States was doing the things that the daughter says he was when she was little, can you please tell me why? I mean, we know the answer to this. It's rhetorical, but it's very interesting that it's not being discussed in the establishment media.
Jamie, this is a bizarre case because she was in treatment for various addictions. And I think sex addiction was one of her addictions. And she was in this halfway house. She was writing a diary about her experiences. She leaves a halfway house, but leaves a diary underneath the mattress. Now, how can they claim that the woman that found it underneath the mattress and then sold it to Project Veritas stole that? She left it there, just like Hunter Biden left the laptop at the computer repair shop. It's almost as if these Biden children want the world to know about the perverse Biden family and about how strange and unhealthy their upbringing was and how corrupt their father is. Ashley Biden did not have her diary stolen. She left it somewhere. The person picked it up, knew what it was, and sold it to Project Veritas. And for that, she's being prosecuted, and the Department of Justice have gone after her and James O'Keefe. And of course, if this would have been Ivanka Trump's diary, would they have done the same thing? Of course not. And yes, we heard it was Russian disinformation and all this other nonsense, but it was true. The laptop was true. This was true. Look at these children, Jamie. They're messed up. They're really in need of help, both of them. And you can point to the parents. You can point to the dysfunction of the Biden family. He's not a good person. He's not a good friend. He's not a good father. He's not a good president. He doesn't have good morals. He's a very corrupt individual. So this just exposes it even more and brings it home to the American people. But once again, shows how biased the Department of Justice is, and they do the bidding of the Democrat Party.
What do you think of Biden smelling the hair of the females that he speaks to? Then the stuff that he whispers to the young girls. I mean, it's just surreal. It's surreal, Jeff.
Why this guy wasn't charged is beyond me. He assaulted Tara Reade with his daughter. He massages and smells and gropes women, treats kids inappropriately. He's a creepy old man. He's someone that obviously is mentally incompetent. And yet, we got people like Whoopi Goldberg, you were talking about earlier, and all these other Democrats on TV saying that we need to elect him to save America from the dangers of Donald Trump. I mean, that's how insane some of these people are.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, what the left needs to swallow, what the left needs to ignore for the sake of their, and I would agree with Annie, for the sake of their demonic enterprise. I remember as a kid when I got here from the Soviet Union and I ran into these people and I was asking my dad who they were, and it was explained to me that they're leftists. I could never understand, as I was growing older, from childhood to my youth, and these quote unquote, I learned that they were leftists. They were trying to make excuses for Stalin, for the Gulag, for Lenin, for Mao Zedong, for Castro, always making excuses. And I dedicated my life to try to understand why they either worship these dictators or make excuses for them. So Jeff, you and I know that it's no surprise that they put that blindfold on themselves and on others when it comes to this episode with Biden and everything else, because they have something that they want to achieve, and you don't want to see the evil of their side. It's like, Jean-Paul Sartre said, we need to cover up what's going on under Stalin. Other words, the proletariat will be disillusioned, and you don't want to disillusion the proletariat. Just so evil, Jeff, and thank you. And so something going on, obviously, in our intelligence agencies, and we've got brave people. We've got these brave whistleblowers that are coming forward, and and these are really, really great people, because who knows what they're risking. And of course, that's rhetorical again. We know what they're risking, but very, very scary what they're up against. So we've got, in this particular case, 2 FBI agents, Stephen Friend and Garrett O'Boyle. And they're coming forward and just saying that the FBI basically needs to be abolished. They've had their security clearances suspended after speaking to Congress about lots of things, about how law enforcement went after pro-lifers and concerned parents, etc. What do you think about just that case, and overall that people within the FBI saying that this institution needs to be abolished?
Jamie, I agree. I agree with them. I think it does need to be abolished. I think the FBI is far afield from the origins when it was a respected institution. And now it's being weaponized, and now it's lost the trust of the American people. And it is doing more harm than good. Just think, Jamie, we've had 15 million people invade our country since Biden has become president. 2 to 3 million are gotaways. We could have terrorists operating all over our country, Chinese agents, drug dealers, all kinds of threats that have been brought in here. Yet the FBI still has time to go after January 6 protesters who were outside the Capitol with a Bible and a phone, and were walking around doing no harm to anyone, and they're still targeting and harassing these people, when every resource should be put on to try to figure out what kind of dangerous element is now been introduced into our country by Joe Biden. But instead, they're visiting people that post pro-Trump material on Facebook. I played on my show the other day a woman who posted online visits by FBI agents, and they were mad at her because of something she posted that was political on Facebook. Now, you've been taken off of Facebook. I've been shadow banned on Facebook. Facebook is obviously, a left-wing tool like all these others on social media, but they're in cahoots with the FBI. And again, it's being used against God-fearing, patriotic Americans, Make America Great Again supporters. And it's lost the faith, I think, of millions of American people. So I would love to see, if Donald Trump gets elected, I would love to see it abolished and start all over, Jamie.
Thank you, Jeff. We're going to get back to our discussion in one moment. We're going to take a break with our sponsors.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took My Pillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented My Pillow to bring you the best pillow in history, My Pillow 2.0. Just like all of you, I never imagined that My Pillow could get any better. That's why I haven't changed it in nearly 20 years. Then I heard about a revolutionary new technology, and I knew I had to bring it to you all. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The My Pillow 2.0 is cooler and softer than the last My Pillow. It is so comfortable to sleep on at night. I look forward to going to bed, and I wake up well rested in the morning.
Sleep is all about temperature and height. My Pillow 2.0's patented adjustable fill is going to give you the exact individual support you need from your head to your bed. And now here's where it gets even better. We've all experienced those temperature-related sleep interruptions where you get too hot, you toss and turn, you flip your pillow over to the cool side. Well, all that's gone with my brand new My Pillow 2.0 cooling fabric that's made with temperature-regulating thread.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a My Pillow or not, you need to get the brand new My Pillow 2.0. Call or go to mypillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit mypillow.com.
And that's right. Make sure to go to mypillow.com or mystore.com and use promo code GG21. You can get a discount of up to 60% off on all the amazing products, and the Glazov Gang gets a credit. That's right. When you support the great Mike Lindell, you are also supporting the Glazov Gang. And if you like one-of-a-kind handmade art, make sure to go to lutfstudio.com and purchase resin art pieces made by the one and only, our producer, Annie Cyrus. Use promo code Glazov to get special discounts, and you'll be empowering Annie in her fight for America and freedom, as well as empowering the Glazov Gang. Ladies and gentlemen, also, as we've discussed earlier in the program, Facebook has disabled my Facebook account. And it's because of my posting on Hamas's threat to Americans. So what we're also asking you, we don't want to go away too quietly. We don't want to surrender the terrain too easily. So if you can, please write to Facebook or share the story. You can go to jamieglazov.com. You'll see the story on the right-hand side. You can Google the story. You can go to frontpagemag.com, find out. But share this story with everybody. Go to the Help Center at Facebook and protest and make a little bit of noise about it. You know, there's some people that argue sometimes we should just ignore the terrain of the left and go our own way. But there's an argument to be made that you don't leave every football field during a game. We don't surrender the terrain too easily. That's what the culture war is about. Once again, please subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube channels and press instant notifications. We are back with the great Jeff Crouere. Jeff, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Jamie.
Annie, so far in our show, what do you think was important that we talked about, and what should we go on to next?
Well, everything you talked about was very important, but I think your very last point is the most important. I agree. We cannot leave the battlefield and expect victory. We gotta keep pushing. I have been asked many times, why are you still on Facebook? Like, regardless of the shadow banning, regardless of how many times they ban me and suspend me for days, I will show them that still as an American, it is my First Amendment to, well, free speech, part of my First Amendment. So I would also encourage people to go to Facebook, write them, post your post on Front Page Mag or on your own website, post it all over your Facebook pages. It's important to post that very news on your Facebook page. So I think that was the most important, not only call to action, but also information. It's getting harder to get the truth out because we're being censored. But if it would all keep pushing back, we might be able to continue telling the truth. Now, to answer your second part of your question, I would like to bring up we have established for a long time, the three of us have established the demonic plans, actions, thought process, heart of Democratic Party. But I'm a fair person who would always talk about both parties, whichever side is it wrong. And my frustration from day one, I wasn't on his side. I still not on his side. But Jeff, what is going on with Speaker Johnson? What is this guy doing with the whole problem? Not that I ever promised politicians, but it's like as days go by, Johnson is becoming more and more of a, not even a rhino anymore. He's sounding like a full-on Democrat to me. What is happening?
That's a great question, Annie. And here's my answer. I think when these guys get into their positions of power, they become compromised. They become beholden to the deep state. They lose their connection with their constituents. They turn their back on their principles. They turn their back on what got them to where they are, and they become part of the uniparty. It happened with Mitch McConnell. It happened with Kevin McCarthy. It happened with Paul Ryan. It happened with Denny Hastert. We can go back for years and point out how it's happened. And Mike Johnson was a guy with a solid conservative voting record. He becomes speaker. He doesn't deliver on his promises. He cuts deals with Schumer, turns his back on the conservatives in the House, his conservative constituents right here in Louisiana. And no wonder Marjorie Taylor Greene has got a motion to vacate. The problem is that the Republicans don't have any cushion. They're down to 217. They've got 5 of them that have been, they get kicked out George Soros like a bunch of idiots. And then they had 4 people just leave. I've never seen a Congress where 4 members have just left during the middle of a term. It's like they're trying to give the power to the Democrats. So Johnson is just doing deals with the Democrats, with the omnibus spending, with FISA, with Ukraine. Now he's going to meet President Trump, and they're going to talk about trying to prevent non-citizens from voting, which is a good thing. But he's disappointed me, Annie and Jamie, tremendously. As a proud Louisiana citizen, I was hoping he would make us proud. And everybody that I talked to is disappointed in him. Everybody.
Agreed. And Jeff, if you don't mind, I would like to actually ask the next question of Jamie. Jamie, if you don't mind. So while everybody was hyping up the eclipse and, oh, come on, go get your safety glasses, a very important thing was missed, I think on purpose. When in Dearborn, Michigan, as we approached the very end of Ramadan, we had the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hezbollah members of Dearborn on the streets publicly chanting death to America because we're coming to an end of Ramadan. Then Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib was confronted yesterday with, what do you think of this chant of death to America? And her response was, I don't talk to Fox and I don't talk to media that uses racial slurs. What do you think of that, Jamie?
Thank you, Annie, so much. And Annie, thank you for always asking the questions that just crystallize everything, because that's the question of our time. And I would like to use that profound question to lead into this. It's connected to what Tucker and Candace, the direction that they're going to, and a lot of the anti-Israel movement on the right is going into. In America, you can scream death to America. And we're in a situation today where not only are you going to be okay, but you become a hero. So that's concerning. But in Israel, you can also scream a lot of things. You can scream death to Netanyahu, death to Israel. And you'll kind of be okay. But if you scream death to, let's say, the leader of an Arab country, or you say something about Islam in the entire Middle East except Israel, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And yet we have people who can't see this. They can't see this moral clarity. They don't have moral clarity of Israel, a democracy, a freedom where people can still speak, and where Muslim Arabs can run for office and be leaders in the legislative arena. And we have quite a bit of the world turning against, of course, many Americans and people in America, Annie, what you're referring to, turning against the U.S., siding with Hamas, opposing Israel. And yet America and Israel are the bastions of freedom. Thank you so much for that, Annie. Thank you for letting me talk about that. Jeff, what do you make about what Annie asked and what I talked about?
Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, the squad. I don't know why they haven't been kicked out of Congress. They have loyalties that are foreign. They don't have their loyalty to this country, and they're a danger to the United States. And they get elevated. They get powerful positions in the Democrat Party. They intimidate other Democrats. You know, look at how Joe Biden has been intimidated by them. And instead of them getting kicked out like George Santos, they get rewarded. So the Democrats just have a different playbook than the Republicans, and they reward their radicals and they give them more power. And these guys are running the show on the Democrat side. It looks to me, looks like Joe Biden is moving in that direction as far as his policies go. And I think they're getting more and more influence. And, you know, Donald Trump, that could be an opportunity for him in the election to do better among Jewish voters that historically vote Democrat. Maybe more will say, hey, you know, we're gonna look at Donald Trump this time. We're gonna give him a chance because he was good to Israel. I don't think, and Jamie, you know, you can disagree, but I don't think there's ever been a more pro-Israel president of the United States than Donald Trump.
No, you're exactly right. But Jeff, in speaking about Israel, and we agree on that, and Trump has a great record on that. But just in terms of what's going on the right, there's something very disturbing happening here in terms of the turn away from Israel, the betrayal of Israel. You know, I always want to be careful with accusing people of anti-Semitism, but I think it's unquestionable that anti-Semitism on the right is growing, that it's connected to this, but and very much going against the Bible and God's promise to Abraham and many other sections. As Christians, we should be very loving of the Jewish people. We have to remember, of course, that Jesus was Jewish, his mom was Jewish, most of his disciples were Jewish. For us Christians, we also believe that salvation also comes through the Jewish people, and that Jesus Christ returns also. His return and second coming is interconnected with the narrative of the Jewish people. There's a lot there, and to turn against Israel, this is just a terrible thing. It's happening on the right on many levels. You know, I even think of just little basic things, Jeff. If you just ask Candace and Tucker Carlson, would you rather be kidnapped by the IDF or by Hamas? I think that this is just a very plain, this just complete moral clarity with that alone. And just very quickly here, I'm just so disgusted and mind-boggled by these arguments about Israeli apartheid, Israeli genocide. This is all BS. There's no apartheid there. There's no quote-unquote genocide, but there is on the other side. And this whole argument, I mean, when have we ever heard these arguments about proportion? You know, we've got to be proportionate. We've got to be proportionate. Did we see this in Iraq when the Americans went in Fallujah and Mosul? But did we see this in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? By the way, major credit to Victor Davis Hanson. He's made the just the most effective, brilliant arguments on this. And you've got to follow Victor Davis Hanson and read his work. And major props and respect goes out to him for making these arguments. But Jeff, I've talked long enough. Go ahead.
I would just want to agree with you, Jamie, and just bring back American history. So 9/11 occurs, and we take 20 years to respond to 9/11 in Iraq and Afghanistan. We spend trillions of dollars. We lose thousands of troops. We make it our new focus of our entire administration. We created a Department of Homeland Security. We created a Patriot Act. All of this we do in response to 9/11. Proportionally, what happened in Israel on October 7th was many times greater. A much bigger percentage of their population was killed on October 7th than was killed in America on 9/11. They've only had 6 months to respond, and the Biden administration is trying to shut them down and saying, it's too aggressive, it's too much. Where do we get off telling another country how they can respond to a terror threat on their border? Would we have listened to any other country tell us what we can do after 9/11? No. It's their business to take care of their people and respond to an attack on their soil. I don't think it's the business of the United States government. I don't think it's the business of the United States politicians or the media or all these other people that are making it a big deal. And I do think this is going to boomerang on the Democrats. I really do. I don't think the American people support these radical leftists that are on board with Hamas. And I don't understand what Candace and Tucker and whatever are doing. But I do think there's a parallel between how we responded to 9/11 and how they're responding to their attack on their soil on October the 7th. And they have a right as a country to protect their people.
Absolutely. I wonder if we would have won the war against Nazi Germany and against Japan during the Second World War with this criteria of being proportionate. It's only Israel, the only nation in the world that's held up to this ideal. I want to say something here. And sometimes when I say something, I just want to repeat, I'm in no way imposing anything on my guests and even on Annie. These are just my personal opinions. I say them. I don't represent you. But I'll hand it over to you and you can just make your own comment. We're constantly seeing a spiritual battle right in front of our eyes. And as a Christian, in my view of things, there's a demonic war on the Jewish people. As Christians, we know that Satan goes after all human beings, but he has a special hatred for Christians and for Jewish people. And we can discuss that theologically at another time. But, he hates all humans, but he especially has a little issue with those two peoples, one could say. And he hates the Jewish people, and we see what happened with Hitler and what Hitler tried to do. And this was a demonic attack. That's for another show, for another time. Why I'm saying this is when Hamas takes these Jewish hostages, demons, they can't even restrain themselves. They can't contain themselves in terms of what they have to do to the Jewish people. And why I say that, when I see that and know that, I just think, oh my God, hardly the barbarities that they're going to inflict on these poor innocent people. And there's not going to be any accountability for the majority of them. What I'm saying is that right now Hamas is saying during all these negotiations, we can't find 50, 60, 70 of them or 40. There's all these, the amount of hostages that were taken is not the hostages that remain, and they're saying they don't know what happened to them. For me, it's just a given that they are hiding what they did to these hostages, because they can't even keep hostages, because when demons get a hold of Christians and of Jews, they can't even contain themselves in terms of the torture that they inflict on them. And I just wanted to make that point, just the moral clarity of just even those hostages being missing, and even the testimonies that have been made by the people that got back and said that every single female is being raped and sexually abused and etc. And we hear even that the males are being sexually raped and etc. and sexually assaulted. And so this is the moral clarity of these two sides. And I want to add to that this Hamas leader, they have him on video. He's told that his 3 sons were just killed in a strike. God forbid that our children are killed for any normal human being. And I'll mention Christians and Jews. If they're told, if you saw a Jewish leader that's told that his son was killed, or a Christian leader that's told his son was killed, there would be a certain reaction of grief. This guy is completely emotionless and then says, "Thank you, Allah," or something of that nature, of that my children were martyred. What a great privilege and honor. And then he takes a picture with the wife about their kids giving this sign of victory. This is demonic. We're dealing with a death cult. Annie, you're the expert on Islam. Do you want to just touch on that a little bit in terms of what I've been saying, and then we'll give it to Jeff?
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. And yes, we can argue the special hatred toward Jews and Christians from both sides of biblical view and Quranic view. It's right there. Evidence is there. And I personally think it's a very educated guess that the missing, quote unquote, air code, missing hostages aren't missing. They were either killed under torture. Female hostages could have been killed by repeated rape. And not that they're under any kind of international pressure as it is. Hamas, as you know, the new narrative is Israel committed genocide on October 7th. But in order to continue playing the victim card, they had to say what they said. And of course, especially mainstream media is running with the narrative. And I just want to add one more thing that is not necessarily about this very topic of Hamas, but I want to go back, and I have a message for Rashida Tlaib and anyone who thinks like her. I just want to make it very clear. Islam is not a race. Islam is not a race. So when someone criticizes Islam or Islamic behavior, that is not racism. On top of that, there is not Islamophobia either, because it's not an irrational fear. When Hamas members capture, they don't even ask you who you are. There were German tourists who got raped and butchered and killed, okay? As long as you're a non-believer, Hamas will see you as an enemy. So it is a very rational fear of spreading the truth about the dangers of Hamas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, mullahs in Iran, or any of them. What I can say Islam is a cult that has the growth of it in the last 1400 years, as their prophet said, is fear, true fear. And remember, they have nothing to lose but 72 versions to gain when they die. And as the Prime Minister of Israel said, this problem will exist as long as they will celebrate death more than we celebrate life.
Thank you, Annie. Jeff, I just want to give you a heads up. This is the new thing Annie and I do. We invite a guest, and then her and I just talk the entire time.
Right.
But Jeff, go ahead.
I just want to chime in on one thing you pointed out, and that's the hostages. And Jimmy Carter lost his presidency because American hostages were held by Iran. That every night that was on the news, 444 days before they were released. American hostages in the embassy in Tehran. It was a real national story. And under Joe Biden, we've had Americans left behind in Afghanistan, and the media just ignored that. And now we've got Americans being held by Hamas in Gaza, and the media is ignoring that. I mean, there are 5 Americans among the 134, I believe, hostages that still have not been accounted for. My worry is, I share your concern, is that many of these people are dead. And many of these people, before they died, were horribly tortured and abused, because these people are barbarians.
And they have to cover it up. They have to cover it up.
Right. And that story is not getting any play. We've got hostages that are being held by these people. these hostages need to be released. That needs to be an international story. And in Afghanistan, it wasn't. And it's not a story here. And it's just very frustrating to me that we are not valuing the lives of our allies and the lives of Americans.
And our leadership is on their side. Jeff, please leave us with a couple words of wisdom and what Americans who watch, not just Americans, everybody who watch this program should walk away thinking about tonight.
Well, we've talked a lot about what's going on around the world tonight. We talked about problems in the Middle East, problems that have been caused by this horrible leadership that we have. And I would just like people to think back under the Trump administration, we had peace, we had prosperity, and we had a secure border. Now our border is wide open. We have a horrible economic situation, and we have international chaos. We've got the Taliban coming back. We've got Al-Qaeda that is reforming. We've got, obviously, Iran that is emboldened and enriched. We've got Hezbollah and Hamas that have been funded and now are back in action. All of these terror groups were in remission when Donald Trump was president because the benefactor of all these groups had been cut off, and that is Iran. The Biden administration empowered them, emboldened them, enriched them, and chaos has resulted. So I'm hoping, I'm praying the American people realize all of this and say, we cannot afford in this country, we cannot afford around the world to continue these policies for another 4 years. I don't think we could survive it, Jamie. I really don't. It's got to come to an end on January 20th, 2025, when America returns to, hopefully, an agenda that'll save this country.
We are in quite interesting times. Jeff, thank you for being on the front lines, fighting for freedom, telling the truth. In case there are people watching who don't yet know where to follow you or don't follow you, where do they go?
Well, Jamie and Annie, thank you both for having me. So my website is my last name, crouere.net, and I link to my columns. I do weekly columns, my social media, my podcast, my shows. We have a new video up there. We've got a poll up there about the 2024 election. So I encourage people to go to crouere.net and get involved and follow me on social media. And I'm going to post about what happened to you, Jamie, because I'm very upset about what Facebook did. And I think we got to fight back. I agree with you. We can't leave the battlefield.
Thank you so much, Jeff. You are #1 in our books. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Glazov Gang. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Rumble channel. Press instant notifications. Visit jamieglazov.com. Follow me on Twitter and make some noise about the disabling of me on Facebook for my latest post on warning Americans about Hamas and about a Hamas attack coming to the United States. Didn't know that was against Facebook's community standards. Please go to their help center and also write to them and make a little bit of noise. We'll see you soon on the Glazov Gang. Good night.